Um,
Okay.
so just to kind of go over the case, we had the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, and James McBride was the general manager for starting up the one in Washington, D.C. And they did the training beforehand, and it was in 7 days. They kind of did like a job fair to find the employees, and they did the 7 days of training, kind of just to get them pumped up. And then after the hotel opens, there's a 50% occupancy rate just so the employees can kind of get into the group. And then over the next couple of months, they move up to 80% occupancy. Um, did you guys find an issue in this?
I kind of found one that was very notable, and then the other ones they were just kind of little issues, I guess.
Okay, what did you think the big issue was?
I was just thinking that, well, one, they're spending so much money because this is going to be a huge conglomerate hotel. It's going to have all these different multimedia, spas, all these things, and so they're partnering with this Millennium Partners company to help aid in that. And if they're saying that 7 days is not enough training to work with this company, that it's probably not. Because 7 days, the 7 day countdown has been really effective for the Ritz-Carlton's hotels, and they've never done this type of hotel before. So I think that they should have added a couple days of training, and I feel like that training would be more useful in an alternate location, like another established hotel, because their very first, because the way that they're training right now, it's all just like setups, and they're not going to have a customer interaction until the first day they open, when they're supposed to be, perfected in their skills, and they're not going to be. They're not going to be able to react well, especially when they have these other multi-conglomerate media type stuff
And they have
going
so
on.
many other things that's going on at the hotel too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
No, you're fine. We just started. Um, so I would say that like it's technical problems and organizational problems. Like they don't really know if this approach is going to work. Why is it important that they need to figure this out, or why is it important that these are the issues?
Well, it's just training, and I think that they pointed out really well in the case study that you start habits early on, and
Mhm.
people get in their way of doing things, and if they're going to change them to make them the best that they can be, the best employee, they need to do it at the very beginning.
Right.
If that answers your question.
That answers the question. Um, I mean, the answer that this gives me says, understanding all the aspects of a complex system failure will help prevent future failures. But I felt like you said that in what you did say. Um, do you guys know, or what do you think one of the Ritz's competitive advantages is?
I don't want to take over the conversation or anything, but I think that um, hotel goers, like frequent
Yeah.
hotel guests, they have a loyalty. Like I know that my father, he travels every week because he works for an airline, and he always stays with Marriott hotels because he can earn his points. He knows the way they do things. They have his profile. You know all the things that you can have with like a loyalty membership. And so I think that the biggest thing that the Ritz Carlton has going for them is that they already know who their guests are, and those guests will stay loyal to them.
And even down to like doing the crazy things for the guests, like monogram pillowcases.
Yeah, that's a little too much for me, but I guess it would appeal for some people.
I don't know. That'd be nice to like go into a hotel and see that you have the same pillow every time.
Yeah, that's true.
looks the same. It's like, oh wow, I mean that's like a big step above, but they also pay for that kind of service too. It's not like it's going to be an economy lodge or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Service can be an elusive concept. What is the essence of the Ritz-Carlton experience?
Um, their motto was something like, "We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen." So the essence of it was that everybody was respected in that way, that they were treated basically like royalty, I guess, and it was from guests down to the employees, and that everybody was just treated really well. Like even in the training, they treated them very, very well. So
Yeah.
it's about giving, the essence of it is about giving them that experience of feeling very valued and respected, and like they're ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Like they're, I don't know, the better, I feel like the more well you get treated by a company, the more you want to, the better you want to do for them. What is the Ritz selling? Ryan, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, definitely. It actually says in the case study, it says that they're selling service. And then the selling the rooms, the restaurant, all that aspect that they offer are just byproducts, are just, they'll get sold, but what they are actually paying for is for the service that they offer. So pretty much they're paying for the customer service, for those getting those pillows, getting, this high-end quality service of people treating you like a gentleman or like a lady.
Yep. How does the Ritz create the ladies and gentlemen in only 7 days?
They're saying something about starting off with an emotional experience, and that makes the employees more attentive and wanting to listen to what's next, because they're showing them the Mom, stop texting me. They're showing them the culture and the values that the company has, and how they'll be treated, and how they expect other people, or expect them to treat their guests and stuff. So, oh my gosh, wait, can you repeat it again? I just lost it.
Or how does the Ritz create ladies and gentlemen in only 7 days? So how do they do that in only 7 days?
So I think it was the first day they did it with, it was like a big pep rally, so they get them all super excited about it, and then they're treating them very well. I think they were saying they were passing out like champagne and all this other stuff, like stuff that they would do for their guests. They were doing for the employees to make them excited about it, to make them feel, valued and stuff. And then the rest of the time, like even when they were training, they were doing the trial runs, and everybody was just encouraging, and I didn't see any negativity like, you're not doing this right, and it was like they were just trying to show everybody how to do their job better. And they started out with only 50% occupancy, and that was one of the issues I wanted to go over. They start out with only that occupancy rate when they open up, so that way they don't overwhelm the employees, and then they slowly increase it over time, so that way they're able to be more comfortable and they can get faster and stuff. So turning them into ladies and gentlemen, it has to start with that whole pep rally thing. It was saying something about
even went down to what music they played at the pep rally.
Yeah, even the music. It was about something about vital behaviors. I forgot the phrasing they used, but
yeah, but it was like a team building experience to get. It wasn't. I didn't see any solo areas in this. They really focused on on how each department works together, and how you can solve problems by going to each department.
And then following up with everything too.
Yeah, and how they were allowed to stop what they were doing to help a guest. Because I don't know, like when I go to hotels, it's kind of irritating whenever you like do ask a question. They're like, "Well, hold on," and then like 2 hours later, they're like, "Oh, by the way, sorry that took so long. When guests have a problem, they want to get that.
Or like even in stores, you go in there, they go, let me go find this person to help you. It's like, you can stop what you're doing. It's okay. So yeah, I liked that about it too, that they said drop everything you're doing, help the guests, they're what's important, and then follow up after that to make sure everything worked out okay, and then you can get back to what you're doing. And it was expected of them, and they weren't criticized for doing that because that was their job.
I think a big part of it too is just how they teach them to treat their guests. So, like for instance, it is never they're staying in our rooms. It's more of they are renting out their home. And so that is their home that they're staying in. So when you are invited into their home, you need to ask to enter their room. You need to ask if it's okay to put this down there. You know, it was all the customer owned that room. And so you are to treat them as if you are entering their home. You're serving them in their home, which I think that's a huge part in helping them see how big of a, where they stand on their customer service, where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to be treating their guests, because they're treating them as if they were in their own home.
Yeah. And I think it'll help them, especially since this is the new kind of hotel that they're doing with the condos up top, because they're still doing perks for the people who own the condominiums up top, like for the food, like they can get food from the restaurant delivered up there, stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the point that Ryan brought up too. They did a really good job of what their role is. I think one of my favorite lines in the key was when something along the lines of "You're not a servant. Serving is your profession." I love that, because I know a lot of jobs, like they'll train you like you are there just to serve other people, and you're not worth anything, but they are. So their training did a really good job of giving their employees value at the same time.
Yeah. It'd be hard not to be thinking that, like, I'm just a servant here at a hotel, because essentially that's about what it is. But if you find joy in it and you can find the good in what you do at your profession, I think that helps out with self-worth there too, and they have the employees stay there longer.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you guys think that McBride should lengthen the amount of time spent training?
I put yes.
Why do you say that?
So because it's a new concept for them, it's a totally new facility, and they've never done this before. They're saying James McBride has been able to pull through these things, like not this situation before, but he's been able to pull through in the most unlikely scenarios and made it work. But it was also saying in the case that they sometimes felt that 7 days wasn't enough. They felt like it was all anxiety for them, like they felt like they were just making it down to the wire to get the hotel open. So because this is a bigger place, it's a new thing added to it with the apartments, I said a 10-day countdown, so that way they had an extra day for amping up people, or just adding 2 more days of training. I would have said 14 days. I was looking at stuff, and it might have been better to double it, but I thought that wouldn't be as cost effective. But they were saying that it wasn't a big part of their budget to begin with, so they could very well extend it to at least a few more days to get some more training in, because they'll need that training, especially with more things to have to do with the apartments and the hotel, or the condominiums and the hotel. So I was just saying they needed more time to instill the values, to up the training, and then that way they could open at a higher occupancy rate, which was one of the issues that I pointed out, was that Brian Collins of Millennium Partners was saying he wanted to open the hotel at a higher occupancy rate. So I was saying if they gave them more training, then the employees would be able to be more confident at their jobs, and they could even open at 60% instead of 50%, and get it open, or get the hotel at 80% occupancy in 2 months instead of 4. So that's why I said to extend it. But maybe I think they could have used a few more days, but I think that would kind of exhaust the employees. So I was also I ultimately said 10 days, but I was also mulling over like shortening the days a little bit and then going to 14 days. Like instead of 8-hour days, have it as 6-hour days for 14 days.
Yeah.
Because I was calculating out 10 days at 6 hours, and it's only 4 more hours, and that's not much. So if you do 14 days at 6 hours, then you have 84 hours as opposed to the 56. So that helps a lot.
Times right there. No, the thing that pointed out to me was on top of the time spent training, they still had construction people in there trying to get the building done.
That too.
Because my husband, he does construction. He's a superintendent on his job site. His building actually has to be done next week that he's working on right now. And even though the inside has to be completely done, everybody's going to move in there the day that it's supposed to be done, and he still has to finish the outside and any problems that arise on the inside. He has to fix immediately. So, and it's hard I just know from his side of it that it's hard to get the building done when there's people in there trying to get their job done. It can be frustrating on both ends. So I think that's another reason why they should have more days of training and using all the equipment to make sure that it really does work and it's not going to break on them, and for the construction side so they can fix it and have a little bit more wiggle room even though there's not much with construction.
Sounds good.
Marin, why do you think the amount of time training is good, or?
You actually brought up a really good point. I didn't think about the construction. I do think that they need to add days onto it. I didn't actually have a specific count. I think it would depend on which department they were working in. I think that like the way that they have the 7-day countdown structured is really awesome. I think it's good quality that they have them learn what the company's about, what their values are, and then ease into the skill sets. But I also think that, like I was saying a little bit earlier, that they need to do on-the-job training before they actually interact with their first customers. I think that they need to go to the Ritz-Carlton hotels and learn how people are reacting to customers' needs, customers' plights, before they open this hotel, because there's lots of other things. They have like a spa, they have all of these things. It's a complex. They call it like a hospitality complex. So it's way different than a regular hotel. So they need to be able to understand the hotel functions, be ready to work on anything that needs it, I guess. So they need more training with real customers before they open the hotel.
Yeah. I like how you said it depended on what kind of department they're in, because the people in the spa, they're not going to need as much training as the people who are the housekeeping, because the people in the spa, they've already gone to school. They already know kind of what to do. They're just going to have to learn the structure at Ritz-Carlton and how other things work, to where the housekeeping, those could be entry-level jobs that people are having to know the ins and outs of how to make a bed the correct way or different thing like that. And the correct way for Ritz-Carlton. There's many different ways how to make a bed. But Ryan, what do you think about the time spent training?
I think with considering like the construction and things of that sort, I don't necessarily think they need to lengthen their time, but I think they need to analyze a couple things first, because the whole thing is trying to get the occupancy rate higher faster. And so they need to analyze and see the opportunity cost of how much they're saving by having a shorter training period compared to how much they're losing by having, occupancy lower the first couple of months, because it may end up saving them money by having the training week shorter, and because essentially they're extending the training period over the first couple of months. They're pretty much nesting them to where they're being watched over those first couple of months and kind of slowly rolling into it rather than hitting it full force. And so I think they need to move the week. They need to wait until the actual building's done, because like you said, the construction, the noise is going to be everywhere. People aren't going to be as well focused. I think extending to a 10-day thing would be a good one. That way they can focus more specifically on their specific duties rather than, kind of extend that part of the training. And that way you don't have to train everyone as long, but maybe you have the housekeepers come and do a 10-day rather than a 7-day, but have the spa people do a 7-day. You can switch it out. They all don't have to be 10 days. You, of course, would want them to have the same days for the values and things of that sort. But you also have to think of the costs that occur from having the trainers come in from, I think they said, multiple countries. And they're the best of the best. So it's not cheap to have them there, flying them in, having rooms for them. They're also losing money in that aspect as well. So they need to analyze how much money is going when and where, because that's the real question. And if the people are getting trained well enough. I think another thing that they could do is to do a survey. Ask the employees, hey, was this 7-day enough? Do you feel like you are ready to tackle, the customer's needs? Would it have been better to have 10 days, 14 days? Should it be a 21-day countdown type thing? Just ask the employees. They'll know. They'll tell you if they're stressed out of their mind, if they have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. But where I work now, we had a whole month of training, and that's just for a call center. So, we were done by week 2. We were just ready to get out of that room, and no one was paying attention the last 2 weeks. And so they were just basically throwing their money out because we weren't really learning anything that well. We'd rather just go out there and get the experience, and that's how most people actually just learn, by doing the experience and learning as they go. So that's something that if they would have asked feedback on, I would have said, you can shorten this down a week or 2 and people are going to do just as well, maybe even better. So
you likened it to like a call center, because I worked at a call center and I can totally see that. In my case analysis, I said that I think they should go over the training. So do the training how they thought they were, and then they should reassess it for each new hotel that they open. So fix the minor problems. Say, well, this didn't really work last time, so let's try something different this time. And they can move around the days, and not to have just like a firm training period, because it also changes with the people that come in, the culture. These hotels go all around the world. It's not like these are going to work. The training program in the United States is going to work for the one in like Malaysia or something like that. They kind of just, I feel like they should cater it to the needs of the people who are there.
That's a good idea, because they could also look at the employees' experience, like their background, because if they hired 75% or 99% hotel employees that have experience in the past, they don't really have to have such a long, detailed training experience. They just have to tailor it, make the fine twist to Ritz-Carlton status rather than Motel 8 kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree that they would shorten it, but I do think that they could mix it up to feel people engaged, make sure people are feeling engaged. Because I've actually worked in a hotel, and there are so many different aspects that like the guest doesn't see, as in like any job. Like there's always background and more complicated things to get the processes done. And every hotel is different too.
Yeah, every hotel is different. You can tell it just by walking into do you think that with the momentum that they have right now with the training period, that they'd be able to maintain it for a longer time if it was 10 days and live scenario training on top of that where the occupancy rate is lower. If that makes sense.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, that's fine. Do you think they can maintain momentum for that long with the longer training period?
Yeah, I think so. I think, well, it's just interesting because, it said in there that they're only spending 3 or 4 days on their actual skills. And I think, if they spent like one day, training, and then the next day they spent, working with customers, and the next day they did computer training. And there's so many different aspects of what they need to do. Like my training was a couple weeks when I was a front desk agent, but there were still, my training was actually really, really botched. I wouldn't want anyone to go through the same thing I did. But the first week was all computer training, and then the second week was, half of it was shadowing, and the second half was like, working alongside someone else. And the whole time I was in computer training, I had no idea what I was supposed to be learning from it because I had never actually been behind the desk working with a customer. And so if they mix it all up, they say this is what it looks like working with a customer, and then this is how you learn it on the computer, if that makes sense. So I feel like they would be able to maintain it if they were able to engage. Kind of like Ryan was saying, like the last 2 weeks of his training, no one was paying attention. Well, probably because they were doing the same thing they've been doing for the whole month.
You cut out in that, or my internet, I guess, is going out, so I didn't get to hear the first part of that. But the second part of it, I heard. Evelyn or Ryan, do you think they can maintain the momentum?
Maintain it. Oh my gosh, maintain it like for 10 days or longer is what you were saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they can because I was also in my analysis I was saying they could even alternate the days between the pep rally and the training if they had it as 2 weeks. That way they can have 7 days of amping and trial runs and then serious training. But I liked what Ryan was saying about starting the countdown after they've already had the building completed because they could start out at a really low occupancy rate and train on those customers and like let those customers know like we're going through trial runs, please let us know where we can improve, that kind of thing. This is not stuff I addressed in my analysis, but I wish I had. That was kind of interesting to do, or an interesting thing to do, is they could start out at a really low occupancy rate because they stated in the case that it's a very perishable product, what they have. Like if you don't fill a room today, you don't fill it. That's it. If you don't sell an apple today, you can sell it tomorrow, depending on the condition of it. But I think they can maintain it because they were able to do it for 7 days. I think they could maintain it if they did it for 14 days, if they alternated stuff, so that way they're not exhausting the employees, or even for 21 days, maybe not that long, like Ryan was saying with the month-long thing, but maybe if they did like week on, week off or something like that. There's so many different ways they could do that. But also, I think it was Ryan that pointed out, or one of you guys pointed out, saying they should survey the other employees of newly opened hotels and see what they thought of it, and get suggestions from them because they just went through that process, and have them say what worked, what didn't work, what they wish the company had done, that kind of stuff. So there's so many different factors, but I think they could maintain it. If they did a 10-day countdown, I think they can maintain it for 3 more days. I don't think that's a problem. But if we're going 2 weeks or more, I think that's when it might become a problem.
That's strenuous.
Not the employees. But at the same time, I mean, they have to maintain that kind of upbeat way of doing things the whole time they work there, because that's their job, is to do service, to do it with a smile and make sure that the guest is taken care of, so that way they know they're taken care of. And so that's the practice they have to have. That's what they have to do the whole time they work there. And if they don't, then, I mean, what are you doing there if you're not going to be there to want to help people? Like, if they said they had to have a passion about people. So if they don't have a passion about people, what are they doing there? So I think it is.
Are they?
But,
Let's see here. So I know with so my husband and I, we've only been married for, it's been less than a year, and he's only finished 2 jobs. One of them he just helped with like for the last month on, and the other one it was really hard on him. But at the end, when they finish a job, so far all of them like on their opening day, they have like a trial run where the owners give out tickets to the people who helped build the building and close friends and people who have paid a good amount of money to come in and try the experience out to see how the training is due and to give feedback. Do you guys think that the Ritz-Carlton could handle something like that? Should they do something like that? Or
That's kind of what I was trying to say. I think that's something that they should definitely try. That would help them get their occupancy rate higher faster, as if they did get that immediate feedback, like even during their trial runs, like have actual customers come in and give those customers, like some percentage off of their next stay if they tried this out for an interaction, like not necessarily stay the night there, but at least
but they could go into like the restaurant and do it there.
Or even have some of their former their other employees, like if that have been working there for years, like know the situations they've come across with customers and have them act that out with the people that are training. That could be another possibility too.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good idea. Because like you can even just give it to the people who are working on the building. Like Madison was talking about, that's what has happened a couple of times. They give like her husband tickets and they can, they participate in that event. And so, we could do the same thing with the hotel, even invite guests to come stay, actual guests. Maybe give them, usually with business employees, they don't really care about price. So giving them a discount's not going to make much of a difference because they don't pay for it. The company pays for it, so they don't care. But, giving them an incentive of where maybe they can have a casual thing for their family, a casual stay for their family, or free meal or something of that sort to make something special to where they can just come try it out, and that would, pretty much nest them, have the trainers still there, have the trainers walking through them, and that way they can, deal with it hands-on, they can see the real experience, but you're not really losing too much, and you let the customers know, hey, it's a trial, we're giving it a run, give us your feedback so we can improve. And then, give them a free stay next time they come for participating or something of that sort. And then that just allows them to get their hands on, and it also extends the training period. It could add a week of just having guests there. And then it also would allow, analyzation of, I don't even know if that's a word, but you could analyze the situation and see how well they're adapting to it. And then you could analyze and see, well, let's move up our occupancy rate sooner rather than 6 months or 4 months out. Let's just, first month will be 50 and then go up to 75 and then, full running the next month or something like that, something of that sort.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that would work. Do you guys think there's any way that the staff could get all the experience they need without delaying the opening?
I think doing that exactly, you could still open it and then have them still be getting training from trainers that are still there and things of that sort, because you could still open it and have them, training at the same time.
Maria and Evelyn?
Yeah, just kind of like what we've been talking about. I think we've all had a lot of good ideas that we could implement so they wouldn't have to delay the opening. Starting training before, getting it done before the hotel is finished, that kind of thing.
Evelyn, do you have any say in it?
Just the same. agreeing with it, basically. Like, if they did offer incentives for other people to go through the trial runs, like actual customers, like Ryan was saying, I think that would definitely help the customers get more experience. That way they're more comfortable with dealing with real customers and whatnot. And I think yes, that would be possible.
Yeah. And I think another way is they could get trainers from, or not really trainers, but experienced employees in those departments from other hotels to come in for like a month and work side by side, so they'd have a couple more people than they will, and then they could also have the occupancy higher, so they could be making more money during that period and not having to hire somebody in the long run for that hotel, because those people would be able to go back to their other hotel and stay there. I know some companies do stuff like that, like Sprouts does. What principles, if any, did you guys, let me read this question again. What principles, if any, form this lesson's reading apply to this case? Okay, that did not make sense. Okay, what principles, if any, from this lesson's reading apply to this case? There you go.
Now I gotta remember the reading. Let me look.
Yeah, I haven't done the reading for this week yet.
Neither.
Yeah, I'm kind of behind on my reading.
That's a good way to put it.
In the reading, one of the headings, it says, punishment sends a message and so does its absence, so choose wisely. Punishment far from guarantees the mere effect of positive reinforcement. So in this, oh my gosh, in this they're saying that, I mean, they don't show them criticizing employees for not doing a good job even during the trial runs and stuff. They did have experienced employees, like the trainers or whatever, and there was a line in there saying, like, if you see the owner of the company doing your job, that's going to make an impression on you. It's not to belittle them, but just to show them, like, everybody knows how to do these things, and they can humble themselves enough to go down and do, the lowly whatever jobs, and just show them, like, look, this is how you do it, and it's okay if you make a mistake. We're not, they're not mad at people for making mistakes. They want them to be flawless, but they're not going to talk down to them about it. Let's see, where did it go? This page is up to 247. So I'm past that for that. Before punishing, place a shot across the bow. So, like, provide clear warnings to let them know exactly what negative things will happen to them if they continue down their current path. So that's like employees that, I mean, if they're not doing well later on, I think that has to do with it. Reward vital behaviors alone. So, I mean, there was a lot of good stuff in this chapter. I didn't really use it in the analysis, but there was a lot of good principles. So reward vital behaviors, not just results. So that's where I was trying to touch on, like, incentives a little bit. It says, don't wait until people achieve phenomenal results. Instead, reward small improvements in behavior. So, like, don't go, oh, great, so now that we've reached this occupancy rate, everybody gets this kind of a bonus. It's like, no, if you make, I think in the case they were saying, like, even people making small improvements, like, they were praised for it and stuff like that, if I can remember where that is. I think just the principle of having positive reinforcement was in there, and also in the reading is all I can really find right now.
That's perfect. So after this case study was written, they've actually changed the what is it? Let me find it again. They introduced a new brand platform. So how they talked in there, how they wanted the guests to feel like they were staying at their own place, or that's how you treat them. Now their brand platform is let us stay with you. So instead of asking guests to come to their hotel, they're like, let us come stay with you. Let us take care of you for the time being. Your time away from home, let us be the ones to take care of you.
That's interesting. I like it.
And that was from, because Marriott owns their hotels now, which I didn't know that. But it's on Marriott.com. And they did that on September 15th, 2011. So it's been a couple years since then. So they're continuing to grow and be bigger. They also have a app for smartphones that you can do your reservations. There's local guides on them. And you can look at hotel information, photo galleries, amenities. And you can learn about stuff going on at your hotel whenever you are staying there. And you can unlock experiences and stories with QR codes and view recommendations and tips from concierges. And so I thought that was interesting that they have an app now too. I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, people staying there, they probably have bukus of money. And they're still really big on customer service. They have, well, the concierge service and the housekeeping, and they have sommeliers and shoe shine valets. And they just want to make sure the experience for the guests staying there is one of a kind, and you can't really get it anywhere else. So that is kind of what's been going on since their time, since this case study was written. Do you guys have any final comments, questions?
I just think that's pretty good, because I think, I mean, I worked for Marriott as well when I was in high school. I was front desk, and it was always amazing how many different types of hotels Marriott has, like Courtyard, Residence Inn, Spring Hill Suites. You have the Ritz-Carltons. I mean, you name it, they have it covered. Any type of stay you want, there's a hotel that they have for it. So I think it's always been an interesting thing, and how well Marriott adapts to time. Because like now you said, like they've changed their motto to "Let us come stay with you." You know, they've had reason for that, because it's, you know, people's mindsets are changing rather than, you know, hey, gentlemen treating gentlemen type of thing. It's more of geared towards a different feeling in people. You know, they want you to feel like it is your home away from home, and also that they have the app. So they're adapting with technology. They're adapting with, you know, the way people look at staying in hotels and things of that sort. So I think it's really good.
Does anybody else have comments, questions?
So they didn't address the issue of whether or not they extended the training and like how to up their occupancy rate.
You know, I couldn't find that.
That's weird, because that was what was the question. Okay. So
Yeah.
those improvements, that's really cool. I'm just wanting to know what happened, but okay.
I know, because let's see.
If you can't find it, it's okay. I'm just wondering if that was something they forgot to put in there.
Well, now it looks like they have a course. Well, there's a Ritz-Carlton Leadership Center. It's a website. There's just customer service course. Yeah, online.
Kind of like the things we have to do for fast food and stuff. You have to go through that food test.
And it's not cheap to go through it either. It's like, it's $2,000
Jeez.
for a full day course. It's one day, includes meals.
It's $2,000? Is that what you said?
Yeah, but I'm wondering if it's like for
Maybe that's
like
a group rate.
to come in
Oh yeah.
and take their leadership course. and it's at the hotel.
Mm.
Yeah, because I have a whole website for it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it kind of just goes through everything. Interesting. There's like some for like you can take a hospital group there. Sure, it's like etiquette stuff too. There's a lot of etiquette engagement and do's and don'ts of the workplace. Just stuff that they've been able to sell to other companies to get their I don't know, they've been able to market on that and make extra money, which is probably nice, just the extra money coming in. But that's all I really found.
Okay.
So that is we went through everything for the case study, so we're good. Make sure. And thanks, guys, for showing up and for your participation.
Thanks for leading, Madison.
Yeah,
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, see you guys later.
All right. Bye.